Hello everybody. I've recently taken to purchasing a number of the Italeri battle sets. They came out a number of years ago, I think at least 10 years ago, with the Rorke's Drift set, with quite a nice model of Rorke's Drift and the Hospital by Sarissa of Great Britain, and including two sets of Iteleri's previously issued figures. So it was the usual process of trying to prolong the life of existing figures, and none the worse for that really. You get in general, I mean, there was Pax Romano, which was ancient Celts versus Imperial Romans. You've got Roman infantry and cavalry, and Celt infantry and cavalry, and a rather nice Roman villa, again by Sarissa. So they've, Italeri have gone into partnership with Sarissa, who are producing everything from a Roman amphitheatre. Some of the later sets, there's a Vietnam set which includes Viet Cong and US infantry, and a couple of jungle buildings for Vietnam era, and also I believe it's a Huey helicopter and a I think it's armoured personnel carrier. There is a couple of Second World War sets. There's well, more than two actually. There's an El Alamein which I have, and there's also a Battle of Arras 1940, in which they've used the British and German infantry, and a small French village, well, at least a couple of buildings. They're nowhere near obviously as good quality as the ones that Ralph Astley was recently constructing for his Wild West town, but some of them are quite charming nevertheless. There's a Battle of the Bulge one, which has a few kind of derelict buildings, and there's also a Stalingrad one, which has a large factory complex included, all in light wood, pre-printed and ready for construction. I'm not greatly interested in the American Civil War, I'll be quite honest, but I do like that era, and there's no question that it makes for quite a lively, attractive collection. Union infantry and Confederate infantry. I looked at several that were available. The Roman amphitheatre one, I was kind of interested in at first, but it's a sort of rather one-sided affair with gladiators and a few animals and a few chariots, 4-horse chariots, and it's all more of a display piece. I thought I could actually get a very basic war game at least out of this set. Funny enough, I was inspired, or maybe expired, I don't know, eventually. Inspired by the recent book which I reviewed, which was the H.G. Wells Little Wars, which came with the soldiers to cut out. Quite a nice, attractive book. I don't think I will ever cut them out. You could photocopy them, but these were to play a H.G. Wells type Little Wars game. Very relatively basic views, rules, and yet some very charming figures. The one particularly that attracts me is I believe it's the Spahi, the Algerian tribesman, and there is a corresponding Airfix figure, a corresponding Britain's figure of the time that looks exactly like this. But you could cut this out, and actually you could have quite a decent game if you can deal with the concept of flats, which are fine obviously from either side, but a little bit less impressive when you look dead on at them. But getting back to these sets, yeah, there's You know, I've got the French Foreign Legion fort with Arab warriors, and you know, they are so reminiscent of the good old days of Airfix with those sets. You know, Fort Apache, the Ancient Britain Mile Castle fort, and also the I think the other one was yeah, medieval castle with Robin Hood and Sheriff of Nottingham figures. And I very much remember picking these up or having them bought for me as a child. This is back in the time of the Airfix blue boxes. Those of you who probably know, you know, have any interest in the matter at all will know the blue boxes. They came after the original boxes, but the blue boxes I remember vividly. British Grenadiers, Washington's Army, Ancient Britons, Romans, and when they started throwing the sets together, I mean, I believe there was even a kind of zoo set, but they're all incredibly highly sought after now. And you know, it was a time when you actually used to get them as children at Christmas, and they were lovely things. They were absolutely lovely things to possess. And you know, I remember a few Christmases having them bought for me, individual sets, and quite frankly, I've got a few of them now, but I haven't got the actual boxes, which is somewhat unfortunate. These are what we're talking about. Perhaps the most impressive from my point of view being the Foreign Legion fort, which, as I say, Italeri, have a bit of trouble with that word, have actually mimicked that, but obviously the figures are far superior. The medieval fort with the Robin Hood figures was always another favourite. This is the Airfix Little Soldier. It's a translation from the French, and oddly enough, one single page in it has been left untranslated. I don't think it's going to be worth a fortune, but I've never seen it in print again since. But there you go. That's quite a nice book to have. I do have other books that I have showed off, which are paper soldiers. These are quite large ones. These are as much as anything, they're not bad for uniform detail. I do collect a lot of paper or card soldiers, and you know, I'm not going to ever cut into them as such, but they're very nice to have as reference material. But getting back to the farmhouse, the boxes are tremendous actually on these sets. You can just see a few scenes there of you're getting actually Confederate cavalry, Confederate infantry, Union infantry, and Union and Confederate artillery in the form of a couple of cannon, and also a howitzer, and I think it was I believe it was called the Parrot gun. I'm not entirely certain about that, but you're ending up with about 3 artillery pieces each, and the two buildings that are seen here, the barn and the farmhouse, and also there's a few pieces of well, essentially artillery cover, as you can see there. I can't remember, is it abatis or abatis, or you know, the sort of things that they built up with soil and wicker to absorb cannon shells. But yeah, you're getting I mean a good selection for your money. I mean, if you allow that, you know, to make the setup, the only thing they didn't include was Union cavalry. and I'm paying with postage £11.25 for a box of Italeri Union Cavalry. So if you even allow that each box is now around about £10, you're getting, as I say, Union Infantry, Confederate Infantry, Confederate Cavalry, and Union and Confederate Artillery. There's about £40 or so there anyway. You've got additional battleground sort of debris, or at least gun emplacements, which you can see here. Quite nicely done. They should paint up quite well. The set itself was just under £49. Some of the sets are more expensive. They seem to be already sort of cutting back on production, so some of them are slightly harder to get hold of than others. The Rockstriff one I haven't seen for a while now, so I think that's probably gone into the bracket of production, perhaps. The figures themselves are your classic Italeri, which are actually got a lot of detail in. They're quite nice looking figures. This is the Confederate Cavalry, and as I say, the Union Cavalry is the only one they don't include, so I've had to purchase that separately. We've got 2 sprues here, one of which is yeah, the Confederate Infantry. You know, quite nice figures, quite handsomely detailed. I believe Gary from Marksman Gaming recently did the the French and Indian Wars stockade set. I think it was called, I'm not sure, I think it was called The Last Stockade actually, and you had a set of British light cavalry, American Indians, French infantry, and American colonial infantry. And Gary, you know, made a terrific job of the whole thing, as he usually does. I'm going to give this a go. I was thinking of doing the castle, which I showed last time, but quite frankly I was a little bit dismayed by the detail. It's absolutely exquisite on the knights, and I thought I'd go with the old the usual idea that we have, which is that the American Civil War is rather easier to paint, at least depending on, you know, what units you're doing. These are just going to be line infantry anyway. That's the Union Infantry. As I say, they are absolutely exquisite moulds. And the Sarissa building is, as you see, and you know, as I say, they're not well, you know, with the constraints of the price, they're not up to the level at all of what Ralph was assembling. They were, you know, wonderful pieces, display pieces in themselves. But yeah, it's not a bad little set. You get somewhat of a uniform guide here. Also, I should say, you get the Union Zouaves. Confederate Cavalry, Confederate Infantry, and as I say, the artillery build up into both sides. A little bit of gun emplacement there, and the two buildings. And really, I'm quite happy with that. As I say, I mean, it's not a main interest of mine, but I have to say the set itself, you know, it's got that old Airfix vibe, which I used to, as I say, I can relate to as a 10-year-old getting Fort Sahara or you know, Fort Apache, and quite frankly, this is as close as we're going to get to it today. And you know, I'm quite impressed with that set. Some of the more modern ones, the Vietnam one, I probably won't collect, but I've got about 6 or so at the moment. As I say, the Roman one with the villa is particularly nice if you're looking for it. Pax Romano battle set. and also the El Alamein with the you know, the vehicles, and a rather sort of nice little model of El Alamein railway station where I think it all kicked off. And the Fort Sahara, or the Italeri equivalent of it, is again a very nice set. The Arabs are, according to Plastic Soldier Review, all over the place. You know, they're Arabs and dervishes, and you know, they're all different periods and all different theatres. But you know, for those of you, you know, we're not really bothered by such things really in the world of battle sets. But I've seen on eBay the Airfix Arabs still can be picked up quite reasonably, in the Airfix Foreign Legion, even the first set, which is very, very basic, are quite reasonable. The only things that were starting to get a bit expensive, with still 3 days to go, was a 92-piece Airfix Guards, which were the first Airfix set ever issued in, I think it was 62, and with 3 days to go they'd already reached nearly £40. So you know, considering there'll probably be a last rush, that's going to be an expensive set. I have got very few Airfix Guardsmen, and there were 2 sets, the Guards Band and the Guardsmen themselves, and they could pass for a kind of mini set of Britain's figures that H.G. Wells used. That was one idea I had, and you know, I just think they're very expensive to get hold of. But these sets, I've put my Jacobite collection on hold. I got a little bit tired of painting tartan, and you know what it's like when you lose that kind of little vibe inside you that enables you to carry on painting. Anyone who's followed my videos will know that I'm, you know, my head spins around, and I'm very easily led. If I see something different, if I see a TV or, you know, a documentary, or pick up a book. In this case, it was indirectly connected with the Civil War. As I say, when I looked at the Peter Dennis cut-out cardboard soldiers, I just got to thinking what would be a very nice balanced set, and of all the sets, the Civil War one is one that breaks down very simply into cavalry, artillery and infantry on both sides. 2 little buildings that are not, you know, some of the, you know, the buildings, certainly for example in the more modern era, the Stalingrad set has this gigantic factory complex by Sarissa, and it's a huge piece. There's also a Pegasus Bridge with you know, on D-Day, with British paratroops and German infantry, and the Pegasus Bridge. It's a massive construction. This is a little bit more unobtrusive. I'm more concerned with the figures than anything, and as I say, while I haven't got a passionate interest in the Civil War, you know, it's fancy enough to kind of tickle my interest. And you know, looking through some of my old reference books, I sent for, you know, spot on colours for the, you know, I'm not going to make do with what I've got. I've sent for kind of Union blue, Confederate grey, and I'm not going to go too fancy on them, but I will actually try and make them look, you know, quite well. Maybe I'll veer towards doing them very, very standard, as if they were, you know, closer to Britain's figures than real life. But I just think they lend themselves quite well to, you know, quite a simple paint job. And although the Zeus or Zouaves are going to be, you know, always a little bit more tricky. I've gone up a little bit from my usual 20mm. These are a little bit larger, a little bit slimmer, but much more detail. As I say, I'll put the Jacobite figures or Jacobite collection on the back burner, and I shall press on with this. I shall start snipping them off the sprue and then having a look round. I don't think there's too much flash. Never a great thing on plastic figures in particular, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm starting to get a little bit of a buzz and get my mojo back, as Austin Powers would say. I've been looking at all your videos, and you know, it's always a pleasure to watch them. Really, it's I genuinely, you know, love what you guys produce. You know, from Gary to Ralph, Fraser, Gary Marksman Gaming, and Gavin. You know, who does all sorts of good work, and it's all very inspiring. I mean, certainly without you all, I think I'd probably just be sitting looking at the boxes, which, you know, as I say, those of you who followed my my videos will know I do sometimes get stuck. But yeah, I'm going to give these a good shot, and she'll put some videos up as I produce stuff, doing maybe about 10 or so at a time, so I don't get sickened of masses of unpainted figures. But yeah, I look forward to taking the plunge and getting into the hobby again fully. As I say, I was starting to stall badly on the Jacobites, the tartans that had come quite easily at one point. Was suddenly, you know, I was suddenly starting to dry up and think, no, I'll leave it. I'll do it tomorrow. No, I'll do it at the weekend. And I thought, oh, I'm in trouble. And I always feel a bit better when I buy something, so don't we all? So I'll let you know how I get on, lads. Thanks for all your videos and kind comments, and I shall see you in a later video. Take care, lads. Bye bye.